US President Donald Trump stated that Russian leader Vladimir Putin agreed to halt strikes on major Ukrainian cities, including Kyiv, for a week. During a cabinet meeting at the White House on January 29th, the American president said,
"I personally asked Putin not to strike Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities for a week because of the cold weather. He agreed."
Trump also expressed hope for a quick resolution to the war in Ukraine.
"We have brought to a resolution 8 wars, and we believe another one will be resolved soon. Steve Witkoff is working very hard, and Jared Kushner, and everyone else as well, and I think we will resolve it soon."
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy confirmed that discussions about a temporary halt to attacks on energy infrastructure took place during trilateral meetings between officials from the US, Ukraine, and Russia in Abu Dhabi last week. Now, after statements by US President Donald Trump, Ukraine expects these agreements to be fulfilled. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy reported this on the X network.
An important statement by President Trump about the possibility of ensuring the safety of Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities from Russian strikes during these winter colds. Energy is the cornerstone of all life, and we deeply value the tireless efforts of our partners to help us protect life.
The president clarified that there is no direct dialogue or direct agreements between Ukraine and Russia regarding a cessation of strikes on energy facilities. At the same time, Russia has not yet publicly confirmed that it has agreed to the proposed cessation of attacks. When asked about a possible energy truce, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov did not provide any clarification, stating,
"I cannot comment on that at this time."
The United States proposed that Ukraine and Russia agree to an energy truce, according to the Financial Times, citing a source including a high-ranking official who participated in the negotiations. According to sources at the trilateral talks in Abu Dhabi, it was the American delegation that proposed to Ukraine and Russia to agree to stop striking each other's critical energy facilities as a goodwill gesture and a step toward de-escalation amid tense peace negotiations. A week of silence or a new trap from Putin. An energy truce could turn into massive attacks on Ukraine, the media reports. US President Donald Trump stated that Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has agreed to a one-week moratorium on strikes against certain energy infrastructure facilities in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy clarified that there was no direct dialogue or direct agreement between Ukraine and Russia regarding a cessation of strikes on energy facilities. At the same time, he promised that Ukraine, for its part, would also refrain from targeting Russian energy infrastructure as long as Russia does not violate the agreements. Russian so-called military bloggers, who were the first to spread this information online, are now expressing outrage over the cancellation of strikes on Ukrainian energy infrastructure. According to Roman Flight's Z channel, the matter concerned a halt to strikes on any targets in Kyiv and the Kyiv region, as well as on any infrastructure facilities throughout Ukraine. The Z blogger called this decision utter nonsense and labeled those who made it as traitors. "They say Kyiv forced Moscow to stop strikes on thermal power plants," wrote Anatoly Shary, while the pro-Russian channel Belarusian Silovik called the news alarming. However, experts from the Institute for the Study of War note that a one-week moratorium on energy strikes is not a significant concession from Russia. It could actually benefit Putin, since the dictator continues to reject a long-term ceasefire.
The military forces of the Russian Federation will be able to accumulate a stockpile of drones and missiles, which they will later utilize for coordinated and large-scale combined strikes while Ukraine halts its offensive operations on Russian energy infrastructure.
Ukrainian blogger Denis Kazansky also firmly believes that there is no real truce, just an ordinary temporary pause between artillery shellings.
The occupiers simply need time to stockpile missiles. They intend to present this pause as a concession during negotiations.
Russia is interested in such a truce, according to retired Lieutenant General Ihor Romanenko. In his personal opinion, this is a step towards Trump. He added that the Russians themselves raised the issue of Ukrainian strikes on oil refineries during the negotiations, which strongly indicates that Moscow is also interested in this truce. At the negotiations in Abu Dhabi, Russia may have been offered an energy truce with Ukraine. This was extensively reported by the Financial Times, referencing its own internal sources. The proposal concerns a potential ceasefire agreement under which Moscow would stop striking Ukrainian energy infrastructure and Kyiv would cease attacks on oil refineries and shadow fleet tankers. Z publics are also now very actively spreading information that Russia has allegedly been forbidden to strike Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Z blogger Romanov Light writes that on January 28, 2026, a document was received by the Russian troops at the highest command level, containing a ban on striking energy facilities, which has been in effect since 7 a.m. on January 29th. At the same time, the ZID blogger claims that internal information is being spread orally, alleging that the restrictions are in effect until February 3, 2026. It is noteworthy that the energy truce may be in effect precisely at the time of the negotiations, which will take place on February 1st in Abu Dhabi. Putin's press secretary, Dmitry Peskov, dodged the question about an energy truce between Ukraine and Russia. "I can't comment on that at this time," Peskov said. "They're taking Russia's temperature," is how Anatoly Krapchinsky, a reserve officer of the Ukrainian Armed Forces Air Force, commented on the information campaign about the alleged energy truce. He noted that nothing has changed and that Russian military correspondents cannot be trusted. Konstantin Nemichev, founder of the Kraken unit, commented on this information, noting, "It looks like an energy truce is in effect on both sides. We'll see how it's implemented." Just in January, Russia carried out at least 3 massive attacks on Ukraine, resulting in widespread problems with heating, electricity, and water supply in residential buildings and cities across the country. After the first of these, on January 9th, more than 6,000 buildings in Kiev were left without heating. On the night of January 20th, Russia once again attacked energy infrastructure facilities in the capital. As a result, 5,635 apartment buildings were left without heat. On the night leading into Saturday, January 24th, and early in the morning, Russian forces once again launched a massive attack on Ukraine with missiles and drones. The main target of the attack was Kyiv, where Russia again struck critical infrastructure facilities. At the same time, almost all of January in Kyiv was marked by freezing temperatures, with the air temperature dropping to -17 degrees.